So you're thinking about starting a business? Let me give you some advice. My name is Joe, and I turned my hobby of making firewood into a successful firewood delivery service. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the biggest struggles that I'm dealing with in making this a successful business. And I have a feeling the exact same thing will be happening to you along your journey. Stick around and we'll talk about it. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe, and this is Ohio Woodburner. We are a small firewood delivery service here in Northeast Ohio. And I started off, just making firewood for fun. And it became a passion, and it became something that I felt could be turned into a business. And I'm going to be entering my 4th year selling firewood, and I had learned a very valuable lesson along the way, and I want to share that with you today. I have a suspicion that a lot of you guys out there, a lot of you guys and gals, have a hobby, and anyone with a hobby, you start considering the idea of, can I make money with this, or can I just make a couple bucks on the side? And then certainly there's a lot of examples out there of people that have turned their passion into a thriving business. I wouldn't call Ohio Woodburner yet a thriving business, but we're successful. We're growing, and I'm able to add more pieces of the puzzle to make us a pretty self-sufficient operation. But let me tell you guys, we have had some of the most bizarre weather here in Ohio. We had a pretty healthy snowfall, and the big winds came in, and man, it started raining, and it warmed up. We were pushing the mid to upper 40s, and the wind was just awful. And then the rain came, and it has rained for 3 days straight. And I keep saying this about our yard here. I don't think it can get any wetter than what it is. Let me turn this around, I'll show you. So, this is my one area of seasoned firewood. This stuff's ready to go. And we're underwater. Where I have my pallets, I have never seen it this wet. And, this is going into our timber road. And trust me, this timber road is not damming this water up, because it's flowing the opposite direction. This is just what I have to deal with. So my whole objective in growing is, moving all of this area back into here, because this is high up here and it's dry. And this timber road is going to be our path to success, I hope. We'll get there someday. But it ain't going to be anytime soon, because anything that goes back between here and there is just going to get stuck. Right where the timbers end, you've seen some of my other videos, it's a lake. It's a lake back there. So we are still busy with deliveries. I had a flurry of calls that came in right at, this week of New Year's, and we had a whole bunch of deliveries going out, and I'm just still trying to make wood when I can. I'm still buying wood when I find it. I had just had a load brought in that we got stacked, and man, when I was pulling out the logs, I kept finding pine. Ugh. And this is the wood that's going to the restaurant. If I ever get a pine log in one of my orders, they would throw a fit, because they would have to throw away a whole rack of steaks. And there's really no mistaking a pine log when it gets thrown onto the fire. And I keep growing this. This wood is going to be going to restaurants. Again, this is my dry stuff, and it's going this way to the green. I just keep building this up, and I have these areas, I call them first in, first out, or FIFO. And it's just a system that we set up to keep us in seasoned firewood. So, the question is about your hobby. And certainly I had a hobby. Well, I have a hobby, making firewood. I love doing it. And I was able to turn it into a business. And here is something that I had learned about this whole process. And maybe, and I see it in a lot of comments from our subscribers. And there's always been this underlying theme, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And I really do think I've figured something out here with turning a hobby into a business. And I don't think that it is a switch that you can just turn on. Now you were a hobby yesterday, and now you're a business today. I think it's a process, it's an evolution, and I did some honest assessment of myself, and I think I'm still in this evolution too. I still think that I am half hobby, half business. A hobby is something that brings you joy, relaxation, something that you just love to do. And it can be shared with other people, other family members or friends. But a hobby is something that brings you joy. All right. So your hobby is for you. Your hobby is only for you, right? When you want to start selling things that you're doing with your hobby, and name what it is: knitting, crochet, woodworking, collecting baseball cards, collecting stuffed animals, whatever. Okay, everyone has a hobby like that, but can you turn it into a business? The thing that I have learned is your hobby makes sense to one person, and that person is you, or that person is me. Okay, when you want to turn your hobby into a business, okay, so that's where this evolution begins. Do you just want to stick with your hobby and what you do, and then whatever that you make, you're just going to sell it? And if someone buys it, great. If they don't buy it, that's great too. All right. Your hobby makes sense to you. The way that you go about making whatever it is, or collecting whatever it is, that's your hobby. That makes sense to you. When you want to become a business, that's where things have to start changing, because your product has to make sense to the customer. Okay? It has to make sense to them. It doesn't have to make sense to you. All right? And that's where I think a lot of these comments that I get with people, they are passionate about firewood, but man, you get locked into what it is specifically about firewood that you love doing. Okay, like hand splitting firewood. So hand splitting firewood is a great hobby, and it's healthy for you too, but man, can you keep that up and turn that into a thriving business? So, and that's where something would have to change along the way. You have to go into this evolution. And I experienced that firsthand. I made firewood. I had some surplus, and I just thought I would just sell, a few cords on the side. Well, I immediately was hit with the restaurants, and the restaurants want firewood, and it was a market that I could go for. I saw the market, I went for it. I changed what I was doing, and that is the difference, in my opinion, between a hobby and a business. Your hobby makes sense to a very small amount of people. The business it makes sense to the market that you're going after. And this is where I think I have a lesson to learn. And certainly, yes, I have evolved, and I have addressed my market, and been transitioning away from Joe, who likes to make firewood, to Joe, who likes to sell firewood, to Joe, who wants to be a thriving business. All right. So I have changed. I started with a Poulin and a pickup truck. Walmart, I had two Walmart Poulins, and an old Ford F-150, and I hand split, and then I went to a Troy built 27 ton, and then I just started evolving. That whole hobby starts evolving so that I can address the market. If hand splitting was my thing and that's all I was wanting to do, that's only going to get me so far. So when I'm talking about evolving, I'm talking about addressing what it is that the market wants. And it doesn't matter, if you're watching, you might be one of these people watching this video saying, this guy sells firewood, and I collect Beanie Babies. All right. It absolutely relates to that. Are you a hobbyist that just wants to make some money on the side? Or do you really want to turn this into a thriving business? So be careful of that evolution. And here's what that exactly means to me. I've bought a firewood processor because I've learned that I cannot take care of my market without it. I am into logs coming into my land, and it was still it was logs that I used to get the way I used to get it, and now I have a much higher volume needs, and I had to change. I had to build this road. I got to move my production area. All of these things are about my evolution away from a hobby to a business. And now, I got to be serious I got these logs, and I got to be honest with myself. My whole thought was I can roll these logs down to my machine and process them. And that is the hobbyist in me talking. It's not the business person. The business person saying, you're going to break your leg doing this. And I fall probably once every pile that comes in. And one of these falls is going to bite me good. So I got to watch myself. And then how can I just physically keep doing this? Because some of these logs, are getting kind of big. I need another machine. So, and I hear it from you guys about you got to get a loader. And I keep saying, I can keep rolling these logs. That is Joe the hobbyist talking to Joe who wants to be a thriving business. And the thriving business has to take precedent over what Joe wants. Joe wants minimal machines, and I want to roll logs up to my machine and process them. And the business is saying that ain't going to work, Joe. You got to change. And the business keeps talking a little bit louder, and the hobby starts giving in to those needs for the business. So what I need to do is pivot again. I need a machine. I need a loader, and a lot of you guys have been with me long enough. I don't like spending money. I do not like spending money. So I have to become a business person here, and I have to start calculating, how much this machine means to me, how much I'm willing to spend for it, and how much value it can bring to my operation. Will it make me more productive? And if so, how much? And is it going to be worth the investment? The other thing too that I learned is, businesses are always doing a cost-benefit analysis for anything. It's got a return on their investment. I think in a small business, though, sometimes, yes, you're in this to make money. Let's be serious here, okay? But sometimes, in a small business, some of your decisions are made with, the profitability is not the prime thing. And at least for me, when I bought the firewood processor, my Yappa, yes, it's making me money, but it costs a lot of money too. But my thought was I couldn't grow and I couldn't stay in this without a firewood processor. So if it's not making me as much money as I would expect it to, I'm still here, and it's put me in a position now to keep growing. All right. So that is what you're seeing here with Ohio Wood Burner. I am a business. I am I guess by definition, because I filed as a business and I'm insured and I have a vendor's license. But I still think I am behaving like a hobbyist. And, which if I were a hobbyist, that makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. But I'm a business, and I want to grow, and I want to thrive, and I got to become a business. So this transition, I keep going, to being a business, and my hobby side keeps pulling me back. But I think in this case here, something's got to give, because I can't keep up with this volume with the way I've been doing things. So I could hire labor. But it seems like every opportunity where I felt like I needed to hire someone, I found a machine that could do it for me, and that's the shame, because I am a people person. I'd love to have employees and stuff, but gosh, it brings headaches. And I have said this before, what worries me the most is, hiring someone, you care about them and they get hurt. And I don't know how I'd be able to handle that. That would bother me. So, like the high school kids that I do have help stacking, they don't run machinery. They don't touch that super splitter. They just stack wood, because I don't want seeing anyone, cutting anything, cutting a finger off or a hand, or just getting crushed by a log, It's just something I want to deal with. All right. So those are my thoughts, guys. Are you a hobbyist? Great. Are you a business? Great. Do you want to turn your hobby into a business? Well, here you go. Talk to this guy here. I am not a business person. I've never been to business school. There's a lot of terms that they don't make any sense to me, but I'm figuring it out along the way. And that's what I wanted the message for you guys is, you are in an evolution, and be aware. Okay. Don't, if you're serious about going full business, don't let that hobby mindset keep pulling you back in, because you are not the important person in a business. You're not. And that's the irony of this whole thing. Your customer is. The customer is the only thing that matters, and your job is to serve them. Okay, so there you go, guys. I hope that this made sense, and I want to thank everyone for watching the videos, and I hope that I'm going to start looking for a machine. I need a loader. Bobcats are awfully expensive. Tractors are cool. Those little dingo things, they're so expensive too. And I'd hope that it could be somewhat versatile. I could brush hog or, do multiple tasks with it other than moving logs, but that's ultimately what I'm going to have it for. I am going to take a honest dive into buying a new machine, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. All right. And it's going to start on the internet, and I'm going to start researching what's out there. And I'm going to start contacting these places, and I'll let you know how it goes. I hope that you like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We post every Wednesday and Sunday. All right. Everyone, have a great day.